Hi, this is Renee and Kent, and we are here to talk about a lesson from The Augmentation of Man, A Study in Renaissance, Chapter 8. And if you want to follow along, it is pages 161 to 162.
It's called the Offspring Learn. Children learn balance from a man and a woman.
And so this lesson is to tell us that there's more to polarities than what humans understand. We understand the basics, but there's more to polarities regarding our physical anatomy. And so associating with or identifying with our physical anatomy is not such a bad thing as being portrayed today. You know, we want to be, they want to strip a lot of our identity away in that respect, but we're being told that there's a reason for it.
Although humanity understands basic concepts of polarity, we have not reached the depth of understanding the complex behavior to the human anatomy or how the polarities and balance even work.
And so, as we mentioned in our last blog and on our last YouTube, that everything has to have balance. And those polarities are designed to create balance, particularly within the young cultures. And we learn from that. So,
such as?
Well, so sickness and health, poor, rich, sadness, happiness.
But there's a lot more to that than just the experience that she just got through talking about. All this creates balance, but it doesn't create understanding right away. So we cannot know one side without the knowledge of the other.
And so it gives us a broader perspective if we're examining both sides of the spectrum in anything.
And this is what the parents of children try to teach most, is about balancing themselves.
And there's even balance in karma. So karma is misunderstood, but karma plays a part in being able to experience both sides of an event or a field of study.
And we use that for learning.
It's all about learning. And so we need to learn both sides. We need to be poor at some point and rich at another to understand the entire picture. And there seems to be in the book, they talk about this line, and it's all on one line. It reminds me of like a sliding scale where you have a polarity, one pole on one side and one pole on the other, and you've got a line between. Say in the center, you've got your zero, which is your neutral point, right? And so along that scale, we're going to experience events in our lives that's going to fall on both sides of the 0 point or the neutral point. And we get to see and experience both sides of an event at some point. If it's not in this life, it's in another, right?
And God does not speak of sexual acts as being good or bad, but only create a positive and negative for balance between the two.
And so this is not speaking about sexual acts that are in violation of other people, such as pedophilia.
Violation of humanity itself.
Yeah, or animals too.
Children, everything that does not create balance is outside the norm and is not considered a good thing by God. So they made a man and a woman, so the offspring, the children, could learn love from the woman and hardness or survival from the man.
And so each has a role to play in the raising of children. So the male has a specific role and the female has a specific role. Each represent a particular pole and a polarity. Yeah. And so in that, the children are learning both sides of those poles along that sliding scale.
But just Well, we can see it within the latest history of man, where the female has taken over the male's polarity, point of view, because the male has become weak. The male no longer teaches the survival and the hardness and the respectability required. So the female has taken over the role of male and female to some extent.
So the way that it was originally designed, and they have spoke about this as they designed a man and a woman specifically to portray certain traits in order to teach children about polarities. So the female was to teach about love, integrity, the whispered softness, and non-egotistical behavior, and getting away from, or the freedom from, this hardness of the man. She's the opposite representation from the man.
And that's how the children are supposed to be raised. The male is connected to hardness, the survival, the suppression of the egotistical or disorientation, direction, formation of oneness, aligned to the ancient messages. All this has changed within the recent years, but those basic orientations are to raise the children properly.
And to give children that full spectrum of vibrational experiences so that they can have a broader understanding of polarities and of vibration within those polarities. So the female is the positive pole, the male is the negative pole, and the male is also supposed to create that vibrational vortex that brings those poles together, bonding them into a unified state, I guess.
Yeah, so all this together provides balance and understanding of the balance.
And so we're talking, this is all about lessons. It's all about the learning. We are supposed to be vibrationally in tune with our physical anatomy, and it is a part of our physical life experience that we come here to learn about. And the DNA was structurally designed for that purpose.
Yeah. When the children become adults, then it creates a polarity between a man and a woman, where they communicate in sexual acts. They also will still have their own reaction, opposite. The reactions will be opposite on many items. And so they have to learn, the parents will have to learn how to bring a balance to their dislikes or their disagreements on a particular issue, and bring balance within that sphere of self-thought.
And it's really about the representation of the opposite poles to bring more complete understanding.
Because you have to learn both poles. Yeah.
Yes.
And the children watch the parents, let us say,
And the parents' reactions to certain events.
Yeah. And they actually get both sides, as long as the parents are able to speak out their issues and create a balance between them, but not go off on one end or the other and create disharmony and dysfunction.
Yeah, you don't want that. But you do want active discussion, right? And to be able to hear as well as the freedom to speak.
And what has happened in society is the parents have quit talking to each other. It used to be at the dining room table, where everything would be brought out, children be included as far as the learning process, and they would talk to each other and discuss the opposite sides of many issues. Okay, and that's where the children learn, and that no longer exists now.
And that is where the true learning is. So both sexes were designed to create opposite yet complementary attributes to create balance in the experiential learning field which we call life. And so another thing is how we interact with each other. Sometimes Kent may say something that I find makes me feel like cringing. And so that's his reaction. My reaction might be to say something to counterbalance it, to soften it up a little bit. And so it's just that the male is a little bit more bold in his expression. He's more direct. The female is more indirect. And one might be used to soften the other.
So you teach your children, you teach the young ones these different feels that, and they both deserve respect. So when they get big parents, they learn both sides of how to communicate. And that's what it's all about. And they will teach their children the importance of this balanced communication.
And your children will grow up to be more balanced from their broadened experiences and understanding that they gain from these vibrational lessons in polarity. So we hope that you have gleaned a lot of new understanding out of this. And
yeah, have a great week.
Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and join our newsletter on our website, verdience.com. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Have a blessed week, and peace be with you on your journey.
Yes.
Bye-bye now.